Well, human beings like you, like me, indeed like every person on the planet in some ways through our very nature, are selfish. In many ways, this is part of our inbuilt survival mechanism. For instance, if you were to throw something at me, please don't, or if something fell from the ceiling, the panels are okay, Will, and I catch sight of it, I would instinctively try to dodge it and get out of the way. This is about the protection of self-survival, and this is a good thing. This is what helps stop more people walking into things, falling over things, and being hit by things. In fact, if we did not possess this selfish instinct, then there would be a lot more accidents with lots more injuries and lots more death. So in this context, selfishness is a good thing. However, if we allow this selfish nature to invade our hearts and our lives and overflow into our personal, interpersonal, social, working and community worship and serving lives, then it is not a good thing. And it is certainly at odds with the call outlined in that Bible verse this morning. Well, today, as you are aware with the information that's been provided and the video, is the launch of the Salvation Army's self-denial appeal for 2020. This appeal raises much-needed funds to help the advancement of the gospel and support community development in countries across the world that would suffer great deprivation, hunger and hardship. And the theme for this year's appeal is Love Beyond. Now, I think it would be fair enough to say that regardless of any individual Australian's financial situation, comparatively speaking, Australia is a very rich, prosperous and sustainable place. Because here's the reality. If we have any little bits of coin or notes in our pocket or our wallet or our purse or our handbag or in the car glove box, do you know what a car glove box is? Yeah, I hope so. A console or in a drawer at home or anywhere, then we are among the richest people on this planet. It does not take too many facts and stats from Oxfam or World Vision to realise this. For instance, of the projected world population in 2020 of 7.8 billion people on this planet, 736 million live in extreme poverty. The world's richest 1% of people have more than twice as much wealth as 6.9 billion people across the planet. Half of humanity live on less than $5.50 a day, and 10% of the population live on $1.90 or less a day. 250 million children, that's roughly 1 out of every 5 children, will not be allowed or be able to go to school on any given school day. And finally, a stat that I actually find disturbing, confronting, scandalous and shameful, given the medical technology that is available in the world today. 10,000 people will die today because they lack access to affordable health care. That is around 7 people each minute. 70 to 80 during the length of my message. About 417 during the duration of this meeting. Just imagine the outcry and the fear there would be if 10,000 people were dying each day from the coronavirus. And yet, 10,000 people will die today without the coronavirus thrown into the mix. I think these few stats provide enough of a case to highlight the need that exists and the inequities in our world today. Now back to the topic of self-denial and denying ourselves. Building on a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, it is fair enough to say that nothing worthwhile in life is ever achieved without hard work, effort, determination, sacrifice and self-denial. For instance, if you want to be a gold medal Olympian or world champion or a swimmer in swimming or in cycling or the like, then there needs to be a lot of self-denial. Lots of early mornings, healthy eating and loads of exercise, including hours and hours, kilometre after kilometre, of laps up and down the pool or around a velodrome or training track in relation to those particular examples, and likewise for other sporting achievements. Self-denial is also required when it comes to serious study or education. Things have to be denied in order to provide the time and space necessary for study. This goes the same for our own health and our strength. If we want to be fit and healthy, even lose weight, then there has to be a high level of self-denial in order for any progress to be achieved. Well, in the Bible reading for this morning, Jesus makes it clear what it means to follow him. If any of you want to be my followers, you must forget about yourself. You must take up your cross and follow me. Now, the listeners of the day when Jesus said these words had no doubt what this meant in the culture in which they lived. In the first century Roman Empire, it was a life and death issue. Because you see, at the time, the Roman Caesar was seen as a god to be worshipped, obeyed and followed. So to believe in Jesus Christ and to follow Jesus Christ was a betrayal of this, and it was punishable by death. Therefore, this was no hackneyed phrase. This was not some words of cliched correctness, as the words take up your cross or having a cross to bear might be symbolically or metaphorically used today. No, this is real in time, in place, in history. To follow Christ literally meant the possibility of having to carry your own cross to a place of execution, just like Jesus himself eventually did. For the followers of Christ at that time, well, self-denial included everything, even life itself, which people were willing to give up for the sake of Christ. Many translations of this Bible verse use the word deny, and this means to forget our own self-interest. It doesn't mean to abandon the world or the benefits of this world. Rather, it means to refuse rights and privileges that get in the way of God's kingdom. To forget about ourselves is simply to take ourselves out of the centre of the picture or centre of attention and make Christ the most important thing in our lives. To forget about oneself does not mean that we think of bad things about ourselves. Neither does it mean that we think selfish things about ourselves. It simply means that we don't think of ourselves as being the most important person on the planet. Our desires, our wants, our personal happiness and the like should only ever be secondary. Well, what does all this have to do with the Salvation Army's self-denial appeal? Well, perhaps the answer is actually in the name of the appeal itself. Because if we are to get anywhere near the ideal minimum challenge of the appeal, which is 1 week's salary or 1 week's income as our self-denial gift, then this will naturally mean some commitment, some hard work, some effort, some intentionality, some sacrifice, and some self-denial. This means 1 week's income, which then cannot be used to help pay the mortgage or the rent or food or clothes or car payment or petrol or medical or household bills. A significant amount set aside to help others far worse off than we are. And this is the crux of the matter, the ultimate outcome, when we have our own following of Christ worked out, our own self-denial worked out, then we will have no problem, no issues in denying ourselves of cold, hard cash in order to love beyond and help those who desperately need physical, emotional, spiritual and educational support, encouragement, sustainment and development. One last statistic that I read in the Officer magazine, which came last week. If we have food in the fridge, a roof over our heads and a bed, then we are richer than 75% of the world's population. Furthermore, if we have a bank account, then we are among the top 8% of the world's wealthy. Therefore, may we be encouraged, challenged and inspired to give sacrificially, in self-denial, courageously and generously to the Self-Denial Appeal 2020. Talking with Rebecca through the week, the goal for the Wollongong call for this year's appeal is $40,000. We can do that, can't we? Yes. Can't we? Yes. Let's think about it. That's 40 people or 40 couples at $1,000 each. 80 people or 80 couples, $500 each. Piece of cake, isn't it? Piece of cake. So let's together make a commitment to make a mockery of that goal, that target, and blow it completely out of the water for the sake of those who have died, who will die as this day continues, and those that need our help most significantly. Please allow me to share a prayer with you. Gracious God, I thank you that, comparatively speaking, we live in such a rich, prosperous and successful nation as Australia. I thank you for all the opportunities and benefits that this provides for us in our daily lives. Thank you for your continued love and grace towards us. Your relationship with us empowers and excites us, yet it also terrifies and confronts us because it demands our soul, our life, our all. Your commitment to us and the blessings you provide call us to sacrifice, self-denial, forgetting about ourselves for your sake and for the needs of others. In light of this, please help us to love beyond and have a generous, self-giving heart as we contemplate, consider and journey towards our self-denial gift for this year's appeal. May the gathering of our finances and our giving be a reflection of our ongoing relationship with you, for yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Amen.